Hey everyone! So now let's talk about the science and technology in Philippine society. So early Filipinos already had their own culture and traditions before the coming of the colonizers. So their own system and belief and indigenous knowledge helped them to thrive and survive in their lives and the community for many years. The scientific knowledge of Filipino people before the pre-Spanish times were incorporated already to their way of life, such as in planting their crops to provide them food, and then in taking care of the animals to help them in daily tasks and in their food production.
Technology is used by people in building houses, developing tools that can be used in everyday life, etc. In planting, they were using tools with the help of animals. In hunting, they are using sharp stone, woods, and blades. In cooking, they are using woods to build a fire. They even developed the means of transportation. Before, they are using animals in boats made of wood. And now, let's talk about the Metal Age. During the Metal Age, artifacts are also found in different regions here in our country, like the golden stuff and the famous Manungkal jar. Manungkal jar is a secondary burial jar excavated from a Neolithic burial site in Manungkal Cave.
Okay. The sophisticated designs of gold and silver jewelry, ceramic, and metal tools prove that their technological ideas help in the development of different tools. Also, trading with China, Indonesia, Japan, and other nearby countries have influenced their lives by providing different opportunities for cultural and technological exchange. The example of this sophisticated jewelries are antique tambourine from the late 19th century, Karaweng Wengadang. All these ancient practices in science and technology are considered now as indigenous science or folk science.
So my topic is all about learning of science in school, focuses on understanding different concepts related to the human body, plants, animals, and heavenly bodies. Technology focuses on using and developing house tools used in everyday life. Ibig sabihin naman daw po, yung pag-aaral ng siyensya sa school ay nakatutok at nakatuon sa iba't ibang konsepto na tumatalakay sa human body, plants, animals, and heavenly bodies. Yung technology naman, nakapokus siya sa pag-develop or pagpapadali ng buhay or pamumuhay ng isang tao. Next is, life during the Spanish era slowly became modernized, adapting some Western technology and their ways of life. The Filipinos developed ways to replicate the technology brought by the Spaniards using indigenous materials. Medicine and advanced science were introduced in formal colleges and universities established by Catholic orders. Isa din ang yung panahon ng Spanish ay naging modernized or may changes sa their way of living nila. Kasi inadapt or ginaya nila yung ibang Western technology na kung nila ay makakatulong sa kanilang pamumuhay. So yung mga Filipinos, ginaya nila o gumawa sila ng ways kung paano nila magagamit yung mga technologies, gamit yung mga indigenous materials. Kasi wala naman silang equipment noon na kagaya sa Western countries. So, yung panggagamot tsaka advanced science ay tinuro na sa mga colleges, universities, established by Catholic orders.
The Gallian trade has borne additional technology and development in the Philippines. All through it is only beneficial for the Spaniard. This trade allowed the other ideas, crafts, tools, cultural practice, technology, and Western practice to reach the country. Some Filipino students who were able to study in Europe also contribute the advancement of medicine, engineering, arts, music, and literature in the country. The Spaniard closed the ports of Manila to all countries except Mexico. Thus, the Manila-Acapulco trade, better known as the galleon trade, was born. The galleon trade was a government monopoly.
The Philippines being one of the centers of global trade Southeast Asia during Spanish era, and it also considered to be the most developed places in the region. The country is blessed with the development, the superstitious belief of the people, and the Catholic doctrine and practices during the Spanish era halted the growth of science in the country, because Filipinos has their own way to live with their superstitious belief or perspective. Not also in the superstitious belief, but includes the spices with their food. The spices has known around the world, that's why other countries want to take it all away with the country or the Philippines. And the Filipino has their way of how to do some spices, and the superstitious beliefs is helping them how to live in long last year. That's why the Philippines is called by global trade or center of global trade Southeast Asia, because of the community who helps the country to grow.
The topic is the American have more influence development of science and technology in the Philippines confirmed to the Spaniards. Okay, they established the public education system, improved the engineering works health condition of the people. They established a Mood Research University of the Philippines and created more public hospital than former colonial master.
During the American occupation, our country had many minerals occupied as during transportation communication. They did not extend access to the world. The Americans had to liberate us from the Japanese and become our country. The country proposed to revive the rose from the Japanese occupation. Transportation repaired, and it continues to this day.
Americans have more influence in developing science and technology in our country compared to Spaniards. They established Research University, also known as University of the Philippines, and created more public hospital than Spaniards. They steal our human resources, but they improve our transportation and communication, but not accessible in the whole country. Americans did everything to Americanize our country. After that, they introduced learning in science in our public and private schools. In basic education, science focused on nature studies and sanitation, but later on, it became a subject known as science. Teaching science in higher education mostly improved, and because of studying science, we can control diseases like malaria, cholera, and other tropical disease. The desire of Americans to improve our human resources to serve their own interests, but somehow it's so beneficial in our country. They allowed their scholars to introduce some knowledge and technologies in our country.
World War II started on September 1, 1939, and this is the single largest military conflict known to man, and the war was spiraled in 3 continents by 64 countries that was involved in it. The World War II has destabilized the development of the countries in many ways, like how houses were burned, many lives were destroyed, too many died, and also the public facilities were turned to ashes. That's why the countries had a hard time to figure out how to get started and also how to get up again, because of the war that happened. But they believed to survive and rebuild the countries, to be strong and to bring back what was destroyed, even it is limited. That's why they did everything to get up. So they started to focus on funds, some institutions and public facilities like schools, hospital, and also transportation system.
The next topic is the human spirit to survive and rebuild the country may be strong, but the capacity of the country to bring back what was destroyed was limited. God doesn't watch each and every human being at the same time and cannot live with each and everyone to guide them. Do we really have freedom? No, you are constrained by obvious limitations such as obeying the laws of your communities and societies. As an adolescent, you must attend school at set hours, act according to the rules established by school authorities, show respect to the teachers, behave appropriately in class. I care for my country with all my heart. I may not work for the government. I may not do anything for my fellow countrymen. I may not follow the rules. I may not claim the truth. I may not sing the song, but I love my country. Kasi dito ako lumaki. Dito rin lumaki yung parents ko. Dito ko rin nakilala yung mga kaibigan ko. Kaya, kahit hindi lahat ng bagay ay kaya maibalik at di lahat ng mga nasira ay kaya pang mabuo, ang bansa pa rin ay dapat ingatan at paunlarin ng kayamanan. Maaari mang maibalik ang dating itsura ng bansa, ngunit hindi na ito kasing tibay noon.
Since the establishment of the new republic of the whole nation has been focusing on using its limited resources in improving its science and technological capability. It has explored the use of ODA or Overseas Development Allocations from different countries to help the country improve its scientific productivity and technological capability. ODA designed to promote the economic development and welfare of developing countries and may be provided bilaterally from donor to recipient or channeled through a multilateral development agencies such as the United Nations or the World Bank.
First, human resources development is the heart of this effort, focusing in producing more engineers, scientists, technology experts, doctors, and other professionals in the country. Second, the development, science, and technology in the Philippines based in the brief history. This influence is the two type, which is internal and external influence. Other internal influence, survival, second, culture, and third is economic activities. While on external influence, one is foreign colonizers, two, trade with the foreign countries, and three, international economic demands. This is influence shaped by human and social influence.
Government policies in science and technology. In ASEAN 2015, they consulted DOST in how the Philippines prepared to meet the ASEAN 2015 goals. They expected that the DOST will recommend policies and programs that will improve the competitiveness of the Philippines in the ASEAN region. NRCP clustered the policies into four. First, social sciences, humanities, education, international policies, and governance. That integrating ASEAN awareness in basic education without adding to the curriculum, emphasizing the teaching in the mother tongue, developing school infrastructure for ICT, broadband, and lastly, local food security.
Discuss the 4 NRCP cluster that give policy recommendation that should part of the overall ASEAN 2050 agenda. And I'm with the cluster 2, the physics, engineering, and industrial research in earth, space, sciences, and mathematics. Let's start with the 1, the emphasizing degrees, license, and employment opportunities. Dito po kinikilala at binibigyan ng importansya ang pagkakaroon ng degree at lisensya sa pagtatrabaho, lalong-lalo na po sa pag-aaral. These also explain how important degrees and license are in our future life, like diploma, because many companies require it as an requirement. And for emphasizing employment opportunities, dito pinapalawak ang oportunidad sa mga gustong magtrabaho at mag-pursue ang kanilang kagustuhan. Now, let's proceed the outright grants from peer monitoring. This explains that are fully expend upon disturbance, which normally coincides with the grant signature. Now, we can review the implementing rules and regulation of Republic Act Number 9184, also known as the Government Procurement Reform Act. This is the rules and regulation for the modernization and standardization of procurement activities of the government of the Philippines. Now, we can go for the last part, which is the harnessing science and technology as an independent mover of development. This means that we use science and technology to the process of our development. These have the huge impact in our life, especially the technology, because we can use it for our daily.
Medicinal and pharmaceutical chemistry focuses on the interaction between chemicals and organisms. Many chemists in this field work on discovering new drugs and sometimes specialize in specific area of research. Medical, chemical, and pharmaceutical science, ensuring compliance of drug manufacturing firms with Asian harmonized standards by full implementation of the Food and Drug Administration. Creating Education Council dedicated to standardization of pharmaceutical services and care. Empowering food and drug agencies to conduct evidence-based research as pool of information. Allocating 2% of the GDP to research. Legislating a law supporting human genome projects.
Establishing more branches of the Philippine Science High School system for training young Filipinos in the field of science and technology. There are 16 campuses of the Philippine Science High School operating here in the Philippines. The main campus of Philippine Science High School is located at Agham Road, Diliman, Quezon City, Metro Manila. It was established in 1964 and signed by President Diosdado Macapagal. Creating science and technology parks to encourage academy and industry partnership. There are many parks in the Philippines that has theme of science and technology, like Manila Ocean Park, National Museum of the Philippines, National Museum of Natural History, National Museum of Anthropology, National Planetarium in
Ninoy Aquino Parks and Wildlife Center, and many more.
First topic I had is yung Balik Scientist program. Balik Scientist program, dito hinihikayat ang mga siyentipikong Pilipino, teknologo at dalubhasa na bumalik sa bansa at ibahagi ang kanilang kadalubhasaan upang mataguyod ang pag-agham, agroindustriya at pang-ekonomiya kaunlaran. Kailan ba ito na sa katuparan o na sa batas? Ito ay napatupad noong June 15, 2018 na institutional ang BSBA programa with RA 110350 Balik Scientist Act na inaprobahan ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Ano bang mga layunin o naglalayong gawin ng programang ito? Una, strengthen science and technology capabilities. Ito upang palakasin ng mga kakayahan sa agam at teknolohiya. Pangalawa, accelerate flow of technologies. Dito upang mapabilis ang daloy ng mga teknolohiya. Pangatlo, promote knowledge of sharing. Ito ay upang itaguyod ang kaalaman sa pagbabahagi. Second topic I had is developing science and technology parks in academic campuses to encourage academic and industry. Okay, first of all, what is the topic all about? It's an organization managed by specialized professional whose main aim is to increase the wealth of its community, to promoting the culture of innovation and the competitiveness of its associated business and knowledge-based institution. Also, science and technology parks play an important role in the development of technology and are able to stimulate economic growth of the countries. Also, study the role that science and technology parks play in growth of knowledge-based economy. These are the advantage of science and technology. It will make life easier. It helps us organize our daily activities. This helps our work can be done faster. It helps us to better know and understand their cultures and societies. It helps us to communicate more easily with others.
The establishment of the National Science Complex and Engineering Complex. The National Science Complex or NCS is being completed to provide a nurturing, enabling environment to Filipino scientists, researchers, and mathematics. Located at the University campus in Diliman, is created by our former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. The purpose to establish this is because to develop more science, technology, and engineering manpower resources that needed of our country.
Social science classes ay ina-organize at ang special science elementary ay ini-establish sa iba't ibang region. Science ay patuloy pa rin ini-improve dahil sa kakulangan ng edukasyon dito sa ating bansa. Ang K-12 programs, education dahil dito, kasama ang science, technology, engineering, at mathematics o STEM. Major track dito sa senior high school para ma-encourage sa mga estudyante na mag-enroll dito sa science. On higher education ay nag-unsad ng institute dito sa Pilipinas. Major track dito sa senior high school para ma-encourage sa mga estudyante na mag-enroll dito sa science. And they allow several higher education institutes in the Philippines. There is laboratories, research institute, and university para gumawa ng research. Sector na related to science, agriculture, engineering, health, and technology.
Other areas and fields that the country is looking forward to embark various research in the project. The following are some of them. Number 1 is use alternative and safe energy. The example of this is the hydrogen gas and the solar power. The hydrogen gas is completely clean burning fuels, unlike other form of natural gas. And the second one is the solar power. Solar power because it is conversion of energy from sunlight to electricity, either directly using or indirectly using concentrated solar power. And the second one is the harnessing mineral resources. There are three classes of harnessing mineral resources: the fuel, the metallic, and the non-metallic. The fuel like coal, oil, and the natural gas, while the metallic is the gold, silver, lead, tin, copper, at marami pang iba. Then, sa non-metallic yung sand, gypsum, halite, uranium, and dimension stone. The third one is finding cure for various disease and illness. We all know that the person is always have a condition, but medical treatment can help to manage disease. And also, medical professionals use medicine, therapy, surgery, and other treatment to lessen the symptoms. The fourth is climate change and global warming. They are often used interchangeably but have distinct meaning, because global warming is a long-term heating of Earth, while the climate change is the long-term of average of the weather. Five is increasing food production. This factor less the scarcity, and also we don't need to export product into other country, and also we fulfill the needed of everyone time to time.
The Philippine Congress has also created various laws related to science and technology. Pinatupad ang Batas Republika 10601 Agricultural and Fishery Mechanization upang mapabilis ang proseso ng bawat magtatak. Ang layunin ng nation ay wakasan ang kahirapan ng bawat isa magbigay ng trabaho sa mga taong mababa lang ang pinag-aralan. Ang USAID ay patuloy na nagbibigay ng kaunlaran sa Mindanao sa pamamagitan ng programang Growth Equity. Ang legal framework ay nagbibigay ng rekomendasyon upang makuha ang tuloy sa legal na regulasyon at patakaran sa mga umuusbong na kalakaran sa pandaigdigang sektor. At ang pang-apat naman ay social needs, issues, and problems. Tulad na lang ngayon na may pandemya, babalitaan natin na may ibang mga lugar na nagbibigay ng sapat na internet para sa synchronous online class. Sa pamamagitan nito, nakakatulong sa mga bawat mag-aaral na makasabay ito sa gawain.
Is famous Filipino in the field of science. School science is filled with names of foreign scientists like Einstein, Galileo, Galilei, Newton, Faraday, Darwin, and other Western scientists. We rarely hear a Filipino scientist being discussed in science classes, agriculture, science, mathematics, medicine, chemistry, and other biology. And this is the Filipino scientists are: first, Ramon Cabaños Barba. Ramon Cabaños Barba is a Filipino inventor and horticulture, best known for inventing a way to induce the flowers in mango trees using ethyl and potassium nitrate. Barba was proclaimed the national scientist of the Philippines in June 2014. And also, Barba developed a tissue culture procedure for the banana, which enabled production of large quantities of planting materials that were robust in tissue. And the second artists are:
good day everyone, this is the continuation of our report about the famous Filipino scientists in the field of science. So that the second one is Josefino Comiso. First, who is Josefino Comiso? Josefino Comiso was an American scientist. He was leading a physical scientist at Goddard Space Flight Center and National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And also, he Josefino Comiso was instrumental on global project by observing the planet rapidly declining millennia sea ice cover and produce a paper on the subject that has been cited for 1,000 times. And for the work of Josefino was revealed extraordinary rate at Arctic ice that affected by global warming.
Do you know Sebahar Cruz Jr., known internationally in the field of electrical engineering, was elected as officer in the famous Institute of Electronic and Electrical Engineering.
Lourdes Gansoy Cruz is a Filipino biochemist whose research has been contributed to the understanding of biochemistry of toxic peptide from the venom of fish hunting conus marine snails. The characterization of over 50 biological active peptide from the snail venom has been made possible by the study of Lourdes Gansoy Cruz.
So the next famous Filipino in the field of science is Mr. Fabian M. Dairit. Mr. Fabian M. Dairit is a professor of biology in the Department of Chemistry in Ateneo de Manila. He graduated at Ateneo de Manila High School. So Mr. Dairit, who did the phytochemical work for the development of Lagundi, Vitex Nigundo, as the part of National Integrated Research Program of Medicinal Plants. Lagundi is the first medicinal plants approved in the Philippines and is now a billion peso industry. So, Lagundi medicine is kilala siya sa pagpapatigil ng ubo natin, relieve asthma, facilitate discharge of phlegm, yung mga plema natin, and to lower fever due to the colds or flu.
Good day. It is now something ang Dr. III, Filipino fish scientist and founder of Tilapia sector person. He took his doctorate degree in Remedios University in 1970s. When he returned to the Philippines, he focused on experiment in Tilapia sector person at Central Luzon State University, Remedios, Patricia, and he was successful. And now, the technology he developed has been adapted not only the Filipino fish farmer, but also other fish farmer in other part of the globe.
About Lilian Formalejo Catenia. She is a Filipino scientist who discovered a breed of calamansi and seedless pomelo or suha. She discovered micropropagation which established the banana industry in the Philippines. She is also inventor of leaf bud cutting in cassava. She was recognized as one of the outstanding women in nation service or towns in 1998. Lillian further expanded her research into plants as she studied different types of bananas using micropropagation techniques. This technology has spread to many countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and throughout the Philippines, providing a superior type of banana.
Is Mary Jo Panganiban Luis. She is a Filipina mathematician and currently a Professor Emeritus of Mathematics at Ateneo de Manila University. She specializes in graph theory and operation research. Her education and career. Luis grew up in Manila and was educated at College of the Holy Spirit, Manila. She is also awarded for being an outstanding educator and graph theorist.
Dr. Gregory Religo Tangonan, one of the most world-respected names in the field of science and technology. Dr. Greg Tangonan has over 30 years of impressive experience with largest research laboratories in the world premier physical science and engineering research laboratories. As HRLS Director of Research until he retired in 2003, Greg has been on the leading edge of technology, conducting pioneer research, providing real-world technology solutions, and responsibilities for innovation strategy, conceptualization, and execution of HRL research program with collaborators worldwide. He was in charge of strategic plan of research for the owners of HRL Laboratories, General Motors, Raytheon, and Boeing. Greg's work has realized groundbreaking advances in ultra-high performance circuitry and innovative computing and communication. His research and invention in the field of science and technology operate in space, aircraft, and automobiles, and in variety of consumer products that make our world safer, support our national security, and improve our quality life.
Here are the other outstanding Filipino scientists who are recognized here and abroad for the other outstanding contributions in science. First is Cesar Saloma. Cesar Saloma is the professor of National Institute of Physics at the University of the Philippines College of Science, and a member of National Academy of Science and Technology. He awarded as the Asian Outstanding Scientist and Technologies Award last July 7, 2008. Was recognized for his contribution to the photonics and the signals processing herein accomplished with college and students at the INP, or the National Institute of Physics. He was published more than 100 papers in leading of photonics and applied physics and multidisciplinary journal in the US and Europe. Also, Eduardo Gomez. Eduardo Gomez is the famous scientist in marine science. He was a Filipino biologist. He was the professor emeritus for marine biology at the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute. He was proclaimed as the National Scientist of the Philippines in 2014. Also, he mentioned in the interspecies biology and ecology. He was also acclaimed as an institute builder, administrator, resources, mobilizers, and a role model in the public service.
William Padolina. William Padolina is a chemistry professor, president of National Academy of Science and Technology of the Philippines, and he also a professor, a scientist, researcher, administrator, and a policy maker. His career began when he entered BS Agricultural Chemistry program. He graduated magna cum laude from University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and became a licensed chemist after a year. Earned his PhD in botany and phytochemistry from University of Texas in a straight PhD program as a Fulbright ACE scholar, and pursued postdoctoral studies at the world's famous chemistry laboratories in Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Norway. He is a director of biotech. In year 2015, in Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies Incorporation, he awarded being a pioneer of biotechnology research and development program in the Philippines for promoting biosafety, capacity building in support of papaya biotechnology in Southeast Asia, for advocating in science-based regulations for modern biotechnology.
There's so many scientists that is not included in the list of the scientists. Subalit kailangan pa rin ng mga engineers at scientists sa Pilipinas. Marami sa mga Pilipinong scientists ay produkto ng isang sikat na universidad sa Pilipinas, which is University of the Philippines. In this diagram, why Filipinos are a good scientist? First, They were inspired by the natural and physical environment. And they were inspired and enhanced by their teachers and used and developed their skills in laboratory.
Indigenous knowledge is embedded in the daily life experience of children as they grow up. The knowledge was transmitted from parents to their children. Their views about nature and their experience are evident in stories, poems, and song. Also, using herbal medicine, preserving foods, and using indigenous technology in daily lives. The next topic is indigenous science. It is a part of the indigenous knowledge by different groups of people and early civilization. It includes with agriculture, medicine, explaining natural phenomena, and etc. And with this concept of indigenous science, it uses science, process, skills, guided by community culture and values, and composed of traditional knowledge.